In Britain, there are certain shows and films that have been around for so long or that are so ingrained in the public consciousness that they become institutions. Doctor Who, James Bond, Dickinson's Real Deal and many, many more, but there's one show that always finds its way back into my head because I can't quite believe it's real and I never see anyone on YouTube talking about it. I am of course talking about the absolute banger of a show, that is Midsomer Murders. Now, if you've never heard of the show, then you're in for a treat. The basic premise is pretty simple, a detective in a countryside village solving murders and upper-class dickheads' domestics. But it's when you consider the fact that this show has been running for 24 years, takes place in a singular county, and in that time has had more than 395 murders. That's an average of just under 17 murders a year, in a single county! That's more than Iceland, Singapore, and the Maldives combined, I think. Nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to pay any mind to the fact that there have been at least 40 serial killers from the same place for 20 odd years. It's almost 2 a year. That's just insane. The show is brilliant and it's a piece of British TV history, so today I'd like to go over some of the best murders and fun facts about the UK's 4th favourite detective and his cousin. Before we go any further, I'd like to thank the sponsor of this episode, your mum. Now let's begin.
Be suspicious, don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious.
Midsomer Murders takes place in the titular fictional English county of Midsomer, a beautiful countryside with nice architecture, gorgeous views, and murderers fucking everywhere. The pilot episode aired in 1997, with the first proper series airing 1 year later in 98. I didn't know this until researching for the video, but it's actually based on a set of novels called Chief Inspector Barnaby by Carolyn Graham. Good job, Kazza. She's written 6 novels, and there have been 129 episodes of the show, so if you do the maths, I bet she's made so much fucking money. Because of how long the show's been going on, they keep having to come up with more and more stories and villages to put inside of Midsomer. So Midsomer is this kind of ever-expanding, it sort of fills itself up with the wildest of places and things that are happening. To name a few, there's at least 2 airfields, stables, multiple farms, schools, a castle, a cheese factory, and I also learned that one of the villages within Midsomer holds an annual comic festival, which is quite nice. A circus also came to one of the villages once, because what could be worse than a county that's known, infamously, probably, for its murders? A circus. Makes sense. The series follows Detective DCI Tom Barnaby, and yes, I know, saying detective in front of DCI is redundant, but Detective DCI Tom Barnaby worked hard for that title, and quite frankly, he deserves your respect. I mean, he genuinely did get voted 4th in the UK's favourite fictional detectives poll. He only got 7% of the votes, but hey, 4th is 4th. Tom is played by John Nettles and is portrayed as a kind and patient, hard-working detective. Imagine him as Luther's granddad. He won't scream about and chase you or drop you off of a roof beam, but he will get the job done eventually, after a cup of tea and a nice chat with everyone involved. He also has a loving wife and daughter who never get fridged, so that's really good. He's helped solve a shit ton of murders and probably does deserve an in-universe OBE or something. I hope he's on a beach tanning it up and enjoying the sun right now. As do most detectives, Detective DCI Tom Barnaby has a trusty sidekick. He's had a few actually, but there's only 2 important ones in my opinion, so we'll start with Gavin Gavlar Troy, played by Daniel Casey in seasons 1 to 7. In the Midsomer Murders wiki, yes that's a thing, it says this about Troy which I think is fucking hilarious. In the television series, he was single and sometimes clever, and basically, he also drove like shit. The best sidekick he had in my opinion is DS Ben The Wall Jones. What a lad. Look at that stance. Powerful, majestic, ready. He was the main assistant from series 9 to 15, and I was genuinely shocked he didn't take over as the main detective when Detective DCI Tom Barnaby retired. Wait, he retired? I hear you ask. And yes, in a weirdly specific to Britain crazy twist trend, just like Doctor Who or James Bond, the main actor of the series departed after 14 murderous seasons, and they kept it going with another actor, with Detective DCI Tom Barnaby being replaced with his own cousin, DCI John Barnaby. I'm not adding detective in front of John Barnaby's name because I don't think he's earned it yet, quite frankly. I'm not as familiar with DCI John Barnaby, but it does seem like he's been lovingly accepted by the fans and is deemed a worthy replacement for John Nettles. It's also quite nice that they decided to replace the in-universe character with a member of his own family. Family legacy and all that shit, you love to see it. I wanted to take a moment to show some famous faces that have passed through Midsomer. Some of them killers, some of them killed, so let's take a look. Like a lot of British TV shows, a lot of actors have roles often years before they break out into stardom or further success in other countries. It's like a rite of passage in a way. You must be on one of the cult shows, whether it's Docky Who, The Bill, Coronation Street, it doesn't matter. Be in a British TV show and then we'll let you fly off to America and chase the dream. I'm not going to include everyone, but here are some of the bangers. Wow, she won an Oscar and was utterly wasted in Doctor Who.
Are you having one of your jokes?
Wow, an elf! I hope he doesn't die later on in a hilarious way. Oh, I love Paddington. This lady was a Slitheen. Slitheen lady. Lady Loki, Fem Loki, Sylvie, Slowkey, Slivflem Loki. The best doctor of the modern era. Don't fucking at me.
Kiss my sweaty balls, you fat fuck!
2 Doctor Who's in one video. Wow, what a twist. The Prime Minister's girlfriend from Love Actually. That guy Warner Brothers doesn't want to be Superman anymore for some reason. Pete from Gavin and Stacey.
Pete.
Pete's best friend. The third First Doctor. Oh, did you think I was going to say Lucifer? Nope, he's the simp that dies for Martha in Doctor Who. The pink crazy cat bitch. Wait, he was the Dream Lord in Doctor Who was technically the Doctor, so that's 4 Doctors in one list. Hot damn. And finally, Nessa.
Peidiwch â chafod ar period, I'll sling you or I'll break your face.
Change the fucking record!
The meat of the show is obviously going to be the murders. So if we look at the facts and the stats, there have been at least 395 murders. There's 600 deaths in total, just under really. That includes anything like accidental deaths, maybe some deaths that happened before the series or the episode in question, like a flashback or something. And then there's another 170 attempted murders or so. The show follows a fairly standard format, that being, the show opens with a creepy or dark setting, a single person is either lured away or walks away, and then they die. Police stuff happens, more murders, more police, confrontation, murderer dies or gets arrested. They also do that thing where the person being murdered is like,
"Oh, it's you. Why are you here? Why are you holding the knife/gun/blunt object with murderous intent in your eyes? No, stop, don't do it. Oh no, I am dead glue goo."
Without ever saying the name of the person that they know and can see coming to attack them. Every time. They do that for the audience. Thanks, guys. A cool thing that they do is that whenever you see a murder, they try and obscure the killer as best they can. They do this by obscuring him behind things, like using shots from the killer's POV, or behind a tree, a table, a bush, a lamp, whatever they can get. And they do a lot of reaction shots of the victim, so that you only see their face, maybe a hand or two of what's coming at them. What you do see quite a lot though, is black gloves. So many of the killers all wear black gloves. I don't know if they're on it, maybe they don't want the audience to figure out who the killer is, by seeing that, you know, their hands, if they've got nail polish, if they've got scars, rough hands, missing fingers. Although I don't suppose a glove would help that. But maybe they use the gloves to cover it up. Maybe all of the killers just fucking love fashion. You seen them Gucci gloves, bro? Speaking of the murders, most of them are fairly normal, you know, your shotguns, knives, ropes, homemade catapults, cheese wheels, standard stuff. Some of the best ones include a dude riding his bike into a wire, causing him to fall off, only for a fucking tank to appear and then slowly crush him. There's a really funny squish noise when it happens and it's great. There is a great moment where Elfman, oh shit, hey, remember we talked about him before? He gets stabbed with a pitchfork and his final words before dying are, "What?" And then he awkwardly falls over and dies. That one girl from EastEnders and Love Actually gets crushed by the aforementioned wheel of cheese. She literally gets whacked in the head with a wheel of cheese and dies. Absolutely classic. Oh, this one's great. So a man gets tied down on his garden lawn, and then the killer has an actual catapult, or maybe a trebuchet, I don't know, and they fill it with wine bottles and fling them at the guy until he dies. It's brilliant. He's just there yelling the whole time, he yells for his wife, and then his wife helps the killer by suggesting that they change the angle of the catapult, and then the next shot lands on his face, and he dies. 10 out of 10. There's an exploding shed. That's about it. The guy walks into a shed and the thing explodes. He died. A guy gets killed and placed in a model village, and I only included this one because it kind of reminds me of Gulliver's Travels and it looked kind of funny. A woman goes into one of those magician's stabbing box things, and guess what? She explodes! Nah, no shed. She gets stabbed. I can't find a clip of this one, but it's one that fucked me up so much as a kid. So the show airs about 8 PM with new releases, so it probably wouldn't have been at that time when I saw it, but ITV3 plays repeats like any time from 10 AM to 4 PM. This scarred me. I remember there was a caravan, there was a fire, there's someone screaming for help while they burn alive, and then right at the end you see their burnt face in the fireplace. That one stuck with me. Overall, the deaths are kept pretty PG. And as I said before, a lot of them are just run-of-the-mill kills. But then there's the bangers, and I think that's what makes Midsomer Murders so great. You don't see Poirot looking into a woman murdered by a wheel of cheese, do you? Or a man purposefully thrown off his bike so that you can crush him with a tank. A tank, that is going to leave such a mess. How do you hide a bloodied tank? Wouldn't there be bits of person all gunked up in the tracks? He's just asking for trouble. If you want to kill him, get a gun, just shoot the guy. Why do you have a tank? What was I saying? Oh yeah, you don't see that every day, and I just thought it should be celebrated. Overall, I'd give the murders a 7 out of 10. They are good, but imagine a tank made out of cheese killing someone. Then it would be 10 out of 10. I think that's the next level. So, writers, get at me. Something I haven't mentioned yet is the music in the show. The score itself works fucking great to build suspense, and it lets you know when the deaths are near. But that theme tune, ooh, that shit hits different. The theme was written by Jim Parker, and honestly, good job, Jim. Shit slaps, bro. It just sounds eerie and wrong and spooky dooky with a hint of playful hope right at the end. If I was going to be murdered, I'd ask that the killer played this theme tune first to get both of us into the mood, you know? It's that good. As I mentioned at the start of the video, nobody seems to care or mind that all the murders happen. People probably move their families to Midsomer to murder them. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe it's ignorance, or maybe the housing's cheap on account of all the fucking murders. One thing I didn't really realise until I started doing this project is that it's not Midsomer, as in mid-summer, it's Midsomer. I don't know, did anyone else not know that, or am I just an idiot? Overall, and as I've said, this is a banger of a show. It's a great way to waste an hour getting into the lives of the people of Midsomer, watching them lie, conspire and die from the comfort of your sofa. And I just can't overstate this bit. The cheese kill is fucking phenomenal. Maybe the show shouldn't be praised as a glorious piece of art, but it should be remembered in British TV history as a show that was always there if you wanted a decent mystery. It's a comfort show and it's still going strong. As of the time of writing this, the show has just finished its 22nd series, and it's unconfirmed whether there'll be another one, but knowing Midsomer, there's going to be a shit ton of killings to solve. Hopefully the show keeps going and they keep regenerating the actor over and over again, until it's Detective DCI Tom Barnaby's cousin's daughter's nephew's great-grandson, still in the same county, still solving murders, carrying on this strange family legacy. And I think that's it. Thank you for watching. I'm not entirely sure what the point of this video was, in all honesty. I guess I just wanted to acknowledge a show that I don't see anyone talking about, really. I hope you enjoyed at least a little bit of it, and if you did, then there's some fun buttons down below that you can press. I don't know what they do, that's not my job, you can figure it out. And finally, if you like the remix of the Midsomer Murders theme that's been playing in this video, then you'll find the original video and its creator credited below. Please go check it out and spread the Midsomer Murders love.